As the end of the year gets closer, I realized there were a number of things I needed to focus on, like working more in the garden, and putting up a solar array before prices potentially rise from tariffs. But the outdoor kitchen cover had sucked up a lot of my time and energy. So I resolved that this week I would complete the framing of the outdoor kitchen cover, no matter what. The final step in the framing involved putting up plywood on the frame so I could ultimately put on a moisture barrier or roofing felt and then shingles. But I had to be strategic because once the plywood was in place, I had to soon after put on the roofing felt because the plywood could not get wet. I checked the weather and saw a dry stretch that meant I had to act now. Wood is pretty expensive right now, but months ago I found 2 sheets of treated plywood on the 70% off bin at the big box store. So all I had to do was take it out and put it up on the roof frame. In addition to being bulky, the plywood was pretty heavy, so this was going to require a lot of problem solving to get it up alone. As you can see, my first attempt failed miserably. I finally was able to lean it against the frame and slide it up on the roof. But I forgot to turn on the camera. But don't worry, I have to do everything twice, so you'll get to see the process. Once I got the plywood up on top and began to position it, I realized I'd cut off the very apparent back post, but forgot to cut the front. This didn't take long, but meant I had to shift gears and backtrack. Once that was done, it was back to positioning the plywood. This required a good deal of shifting things around. That done, I was finally ready to screw the plywood in place at the front and then the back. And just as I was finishing the right side, I broke the pre-drill bit. I sighed heavily, changed to a larger bit, and kept going. And now you get to see the process of installing the second sheet of plywood. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. I did the clamping and screwing in place, and then I was ready to go through the middle section to complete attaching the plywood to the rafters. It was a tight fit, but I made it. Things were really moving along. All that remained was for me to put in the middle section using some treated wood I saved from the van conversion. The plan was to cut it down to the right size to slide it in place. Even though it was a small section, it was still heavy and bulky. I had to resort to using the same method I used for the large plywood sheets, sliding it on the roof. I then clamped it in place to mark off where I needed to cut. And on to the hated circular saw. For once, things worked as planned, and the piece went easily into place. With the shorter fall days, it was beginning to get dark, so I had to put away the camera to finish this last section before the sun went down. And here is the finished roof. I put in extra supports for the small middle sections and think the whole thing came out pretty neat. I also saved myself some money when a friend gave me a roll of roofing felt that should take no time to put over the plywood for protection until I can put on the shingles. And I have 2 days before expected rain. Looking at the finished framing, I thought about the long journey from when I decided to take on this project. It let me know it was worth it to tackle something out of my comfort zone. It didn't have to be perfect, and I learned so much along the way. See you next time.